Okay, any more conversations we're gonna overhear here? Because it is quite literally everywhere we go. Gnarl, we're still gonna wait on that. But so many things in the Citadel here.
You should be shocked. Gorex wanted for 6 bombings. 6. Killed both humans and Batarians.
Oh, we've already heard about this, right?
He was part of a terror cell. Picked crowded places. Voya, Omega. Doesn't matter to these asshole fanatics who gets blown up.
Okay, and on that topic, are there any of these ones that we feel like we could still run to ground here on the Citadel? There definitely are some of them. There definitely are some. There are many, many that involve exploring elsewhere. So maybe we've spent a lot of time on the Citadel here. It might be worth venturing out a bit. I mean, we still would like to get enough credits to find a freaking Crusader now. I would like to do that. Okay, in that case, are there any ones here that we feel like we would like to try to wrap up in their entirety? Yeah. Perhaps. Perhaps. There are some that I'm kind of deliberately trying to save a little bit. There are some that, I mean, as we've said many times, with things like the Aria ones, some of the other ones that are here as well. Deliberately trying to wait a little bit before we do them. But, might be one of those beggars can't be choosers types of situations. CSEC Officer Jordan Knowles has requested assistance tracking illegal use of Batarian diplomatic codes. Consult the Spectre terminal, and then locate access points on the Citadel. We might do that one. There's one quest in particular that I have in mind that I can remember the conclusion of, but numerous of these names here make me think, is that it? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Is that the one I'm thinking of? I can't place it as to which one it is exactly.
Spectre status recognized.
So, what is it? We have definitely some things that we could do at the embassies. Some things in docks as well. We haven't been to Purgatory yet, so we wanted to further add to the list of things that we have to do. I suppose we could get over to Purgatory, see if there's any other quests we can learn about here. Why not? That is a large Elcor.
Grimly, you do not understand. The code of the ancients is the collected wisdom of our people. With overwhelming sadness, it was lost when the Kuna fell. Without it, we lack the guidance we need. With certainty, we need the wisdom of our ancestors in these trying times.
Elcor, bro, we will absolutely help you. Without question. If we're not here to support the Elcor, then who are we here to support?
Good. Concussion's almost gone.
Good. When I heard you were injured.
It was stupid. I should have ducked when that wall came down. Something good has come out of all this, though. Got new equipment. Sent me a set of Vortex armor. Man, summoning supply shouldn't mess that one up.
Oh, I've heard those are pretty good.
It's great. I'd only be safer inside a tank. It's why Vortex gear costs more than I make in a year.
Oh, wow. I mean, he is wearing some nifty colored armor there. That much is true. Say, you got any I guess spare Solarian armor isn't really going to help us all that much. We've learned about one additional quest. Anything else? In Purgatory itself? Obviously, Arya is here. I think she's still here. Yeah, she is.
No, the problem is that our people are terrible at making war. The library at Asha had sacred texts on the ways of the Huntress, the defining works on the art of battle. But the Nimbus cluster has already fallen, and our people are here dancing instead of fighting.
Priorities, right? Priorities. Oh! Well, I do believe that, yeah, Jack wanted to chat with us at Purgatory. There she is. That looks like Joker as well. So yeah, we've got some friends hanging out here. So perhaps it is worth taking a little bit of time to shoot the breeze with them. That's... For a second I thought that was going to be Garrus. It is not.
The banner of the First
That's the guy we gave the first regiment to.
Put some steel in their spine.
He had friends here previously. They've all left. It's just him. He's hanging out by himself now. All right, well, speaking of hanging out by themselves, let's give Jack some company here.
Ugh, this sucks.
What have you got there?
Duty roster for the students. It's what I do for fun now. They've got us spread out across Alliance units, reinforcing barriers, modding ammo, that kind of thing.
How are they holding up?
They're fine. They're not the ones reading duty rosters while on shore leave.
Jack's the one who's not doing so well. You look like you're doing well.
Complain if you like, but I think military life suits you.
Hey, running back to the Alliance was your lifelong dream, not mine.
Come on, plenty of combat, free room and board, and people you can depend on.
Yeah. Maybe your little suicide squad taught me something about teamwork. Speaking of which, thanks. My guys are handling the support stuff well. Still see some action, but they're not on the front lines. They've saved a lot of lives. It'd be a
Good to
hell of
hear.
a lot more fun with you. You find bigger fights. But the little shits are useless without me. I gotta stick with them. 'Cause I'm dependable now, apparently. I blame you for this, Shepard.
Oh, it's our fault.
Come on,
What?
the duty rosters can wait. Right now, you're on shore leave.
Shepard, everybody knows you can't dance.
Maybe. But that ain't gonna stop us. Ah, it's the Shepherd Shuffle! The classic. Meanwhile, Jack is like actually dancing. What? You're only gonna give us a half second of that? And then fade to black?
I miss Afterlife.
Yeah, this place is so clean and squeaks. Anyhow, thanks for the drink. But why'd you drag me out here?
You still got that merchant trade?
Yeah,
Smuggler dude.
might as well.
Mind if we eavesdrop real quick? Very subtly, of course. Very, very subtly. Hey guys, don't mind us. Oh man, did you hear about the weather today? Crazy, right? Totally crazy, isn't it? Let's see. So that was a very brief dance with Jack. Oh, Edie's here as well. I think we saw Joker was elsewhere. Yeah, downstairs at the bar. Why don't we let's start with Joker, then we'll work our way back up here to Edie. Is there anyone else here? We spoke with Jack. Just Joker here? Random Turian officer dude that we gave quest item to.
Look at this! All it took was a Cerberus attack on the Citadel to get folks around here to pay attention to the war.
How is this any different from normal?
Can't you see the desperation? This isn't happy dancing. This is forget my problems dancing. Look at the arms. If a guy waves his arms like that, he's worrying about a lot more than looking stupid on the dance floor.
Alright, fair
Surprisingly
point.
observant.
I've had time to watch a lot of dancing from the sidelines. Speaking of which,
Dancing?
watching from the sidelines. What do you think about me and Edie?
I mean, we saw previously that it seemed as though the two of you were making some moves on one another. Now, of course, Joker is a human and Edie is a robot, but I mean, they can make it work somehow, right?
Why not?
Because I could break a bone just from some light over-the-clothes action?
That's always a risk. But then so are the Reapers.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on dating Harbinger.
You know what I mean. If we all ended up dead this time tomorrow, what would you regret?
Getting a shattered pelvis and a broken heart. Such a stupid idea.
I mean, maybe it's worth the effort.
If you could be out there right now on the dance floor, would you be waving your arms?
Yeah,
Sounds like you've got bigger things to worry about than looking stupid.
yeah, guess I do. Now, if you'll excuse me,
Oh. Okay. Interesting. does make you wonder if we were to head back up to where Edie was. Any signs of Joker here? Yes, Joker is dancing up here. And he said, they said it couldn't be done. He might have also, well, he might have been the person who originally said that it couldn't be done, but he's here.
Haven't broken anything yet. That's a start.
That it is. Oh, I guess we might have had the option of speaking to either Joker or Edie to encourage them to do something like this, although now apparently we cannot speak to Edie, which is unfortunate, but of course we've convinced Joker
Haven't broken anything yet. That's a start.
to start making some dance moves, and good for him, you know? Good for him. Unfortunately, it seems as though we may not get the chance to hear Edie's perspective, though. I think that now the last of our teammates here with whom we can chat. Wasn't anyone over here, was there? I don't think so. No? And there's still Arya, yes, but we spoke to her a while back, and I don't think she's gonna have anything new for us here. And so with that, I think we have now been to every area of the Citadel post Citadel 2/Citadel Coup mission. We did pick up this Dakuna Code of the Ancients mission from overhearing the Elcor out here. An Elcor on the Citadel needs the Code of the Ancients to inspire his people. Recover the Holy Book from Dakuna and return it to him at Purgatory. Then also from the Asari side, info about the Nimbus Cluster, Library of Asia. An Asari military trainer needs texts from the Library of Asia. Recover the texts from the Nimbus Cluster and deliver them to her at Purgatory on the Citadel. The list of quests. Primarily, quests where we explore somewhere in the galaxy and recover whatever we find to the people who we heard about, who have these concerns. The list is incredibly long now. So perhaps it is time to head back to the Normandy and try to finish some of this stuff here. Now, of course, we've not yet gotten to the 125,000 mark that we were trying to get to, but with so many exploration-based side quests, surely, if we did a fair number of those, we could reach that number, and probably then some. Oh, Dr. Chakwas would like to speak to us down in the medbay. Now, we did do that quest where we were exchanging our medical supplies for the medical supplies of some people on the Citadel, Tactus. So perhaps, as we suspected, although we didn't technically complete the mission, just from speaking to that Turian dude, maybe we just confirm with Chakwas here to make that happen.
You always pull through, Commander. We've received the supplies from Tactus.
Everything
Nice.
good?
Indeed. We've acquired some very useful equipment. As such, I've been able to enhance the effectiveness of our Medigel delivery systems. I've also collated information that Liara may find of interest. Check with Cliff.
Oh, well, that's enough experience for us to level up, so that's pretty sweet. Medigel upgrade efficiency increase. So that is one difference, I believe, between bringing Dr. Chakwas and bringing on Dr. Michelle as your doctor on the Normandy. Is, I kind of alluded to this at the time, but I didn't want to go into the specifics to avoid spoilers, but I believe they both either have, maybe it's the same quest, but the reward is different, or it might be slightly different quests. For Dr. Chakwas, I believe it makes an individual Medigel more effective at, I guess, restoring HP. And then for Dr. Michelle, I think instead for her you get an additional maximum Medigel capacity. But I could be wrong about that. That's just, I think that's what I remember being the case. She also said
Thank you for the data.
something new here from Glyph.
The results are available on the Information Network terminal.
Okay. So, med-based surgery. This minor surgery will erase all scarring from your cybernetic implants, which we, of course, had at the beginning of Mass Effect 2, and depending on what you do in Mass Effect 2, they can either get more pronounced if you play as a renegade, or fade and become completely insignificant, or unnoticeable if you go the Paragon route. if you forego any cosmetic improvements, you will instead get a small boost to your overall health. So that seems like a pretty solid option there. Use the medbay to improve your health. Like, for this one, might this be a time to test as to whether this works for Shepard, or no one at all if it's bugged, just Shepard if it's not bugged, and we interpret it to mean quite literally just you, Shepard, or the entire team. Shepard right now has 825 HP. It's a relatively nice round number, which is probably about to get spoiled. We don't really know squad mates' HP unless we open up another side quest in which we're actually taking squad mates on them. We write that down or remember what number they have, and then do this upgrade, so that's a little bit tougher to test. But let's go for the health bonus. So, I mean, I suppose we could potentially tell just from if the number looks... Oh, well. Still goes up by 25. I was expecting it to be... I mean, I didn't do the mental math, but I was expecting it to be something like, 847. Like, okay, well, clearly this has gone up by 5%, because it's a weird number for us to finish on. But no, 850 is still a pretty well-rounded number. So might be kind of hard to tell if that did apply to squad mates as well, because they may not be on, or they may still be on a relatively round number. We also, after having leveled up, we have 7 points now, which means we could fully upgrade Cluster Grenade, but we were talking about this a little bit before, that it seemed like we were primed to pick up a bonus power soon, either Energy Drain or Defense Matrix, Tally and Edie's bonus powers, respectively. And at the time, we only had 3 points, and that wasn't going to get us very far. But with 7 points, we could get up to what? That would be level 3 would now be possible, whereas we would only be able to do level 2 before having acquired that most recent level. So that's probably more urgent than getting this last upgrade on Cluster Grenade, which is going to give us more damage in some way, shape, or form, either direct damage or additional shrapnel counts, which basically means the grenades break up into more sub-grenades, so if more sub-grenades hit, then that also translates to more damage, so either way, it's going to turn into more damage. It's nice, but we don't use our cluster grenades all that often. It is mostly just a panic button in case we get totally rushed down, but even then, not something we've used very often. So I think we probably will wait to unlock one of those bonus powers, but there's the health bonus. Okay, anything new from...
It's good to see you.
The Yara or the Roper Terminal? No. Just Glyph. Just Glyph. So I think we do some exploration now. Do at least some of those seemingly endless side quests for picking up resources and returning them back to people on the Citadel. So let's open up our galaxy map here. And I'm kind of curious to see if we head out here. Do we get the little highlighty things telling us that there's a thing that we ought to explore in a given area? Or does it remain without any sort of label here? Like, I know we got something in the Athena Nebula. I know we also got something in the Nimbus cluster for scanning stuff, but we did still have the Investigate Asari Colony stuffs here. So that aspect is not new. Like anything that previously was at 100% that now perhaps we might have a new system that is available to us within this cluster, and so it is possible to explore. Have I seen Aethon cluster before? I feel like that might be new, but yeah, is there like a new system within this cluster that we can explore that has new stuff in it? Oh, right, the Valhalla Threshold. Is this the one that we were trying to explore before? But it turned out was overrun by Reapers. We scanned the thing that we still needed to get, but we didn't get a chance to double back for it. And it might still be overrun. Okay, well, there aren't actually that many systems that are any less than 100%. The one exception, one of the few exceptions being the Athena cluster. I suspect there might be a side quest in here at some point, but there's at the very least something that we can scan here. So let's check it out. Okay, whoa, there's a lot of stuff here. And there are many systems in this cluster. There's at least 2 more. Yeah, there's 3 more. There's 4 more beyond where we currently are. Wow. Okay. So this place is huge. There's also a ton of planets in the system. Okay. In that case, I think we're pretty low on fuel, if I remember correctly. We may... Oh, no. Do we automatically get back up to 1,000 fuel after visiting the Citadel? Is that a thing? I don't remember if that's a thing, but we definitely were not on 1,000 fuel before. Nor did we use up all of our fuel and get transported back to a place. No, but even then it would be at 0 out of 1,000. Yeah, I feel like we might automatically get it back when we visit the Citadel, because otherwise I don't know where we got that fuel from. I was about to say, we are low on fuel, so it might make sense to scan this place, hope we happen to come across a fuel deposit, and then make our moves out elsewhere, but I guess that's not necessary. But anyways, let's start by reading up on these planets. As I said, I mean, with, what, there's 5 systems total, including the one that we're currently in this cluster. There's got to be some quest we're going to actually land on a planet for in this cluster somewhere. We just may not know about it yet. At first, I thought that the Cerberus Scientist mission on Array, I thought that might have been in here somewhere. Not necessarily sure we want to do that right now, so if we do come across that, we'll probably put a pin in that and come back to it on a later occasion. But at least for right now, we're trying to find some stuff to scan to get some more credits so we can buy the Crusader. So that's the goal. But let's read up a little bit on what we have here. We have Tevura, which is a hydrogen-methane ice giant with a core of frozen ammonia and trace hydrocarbons. The world is named for an ancient Asari goddess of love. Is this... This must be... This isn't the Asari home cluster, is it? I guess it's possible. I mean, all these references to Asari, possibly. Let's see, so... Spheres of influence whose overlap initially baffled human xenoanthropologists. Asari reproductive instincts are strongly exogamous, and before alien contact, their instincts sent the Asari roaming outside their kinship groups to avoid mating with relatives. The journey has necessitated a system of rules and governing guests, fugitives, and alliances, all watched over by the goddess Tevura. Reapers have ignored Tevura so far. Its science stations and moon-based mining equipment offer little strategic importance. It is likely that a destroyer will eventually be sent here to exterminate any civilians. Oh, it does really sound like this is the Asari home system right here, perhaps? And we're what? I think we're a little bit north, if you want to call it that, upward of the Serpent Nebula, which is where the Citadel is, and I do remember that the Asari home cluster, or home system, whichever one you're referring to, is north of the Citadel, so if it's not here, it's probably quite close. Athame. Athame is a hydrogen and helium gas giant with spectacular rings. The planet's apparent magnitude varies when seen from Thessia, that is the Asari homeworld, so yes, I think that's where we are right now, based on atmospheric conditions and relative distance. To the ancient Asari, the mysterious star that shone in some months and disappeared in others was linked to fortune, and so it was named Athame, after the matriarch of the pantheon and a goddess of prophecy and fate. Athame's worship changed over time, eventually becoming the basis for a monotheistic religion in which her maiden, matron, and matriarch aspects oversaw all stages and roles in Asari society. When an Asari says, by the goddess, they are referring to Athame. That's interesting, because we've heard many Asari say that before. Many Asari, including Liara, of course. Like Janiri, the planet Athame served as a rally point during the Reaper invasion, where fleeing Asari ships could discharge their drive cores so they could make another FTL jump. The Reapers were forced to chase the Asari away from the planet, buying Thessia valuable time. Okay, so we can get some insights as to... Thus far, we've heard about, of course, many of the major species homeworlds have been targeted. Oh, who's in hiding over here? Like, obviously Earth for the humans, Alavin for the Turians, started to see Tuchanka get attacked, the homeworld of the Krogan, but, and, however, Surkesh and Thessia, the Solarian and Asari homeworlds respectively, thus far have seemingly been relatively unharmed But, yeah, you know, interesting to see what they're doing to prepare. So we do have Lucin here. A large reflective asteroid, Lucin is almost visible in Thessia's night sky and was discovered soon after the Asari developed optics. When the space age finally arrived, the rocky asteroid was among the first to be mined for its valuable deposits of platinum group metals. Lucin is named for the servant of goddess Athame, who beseeched the goddess for the gifts of pottery, forging, and biotics. Lucin then sailed to the sea and sky, teaching these gifts to mortals. It is said that the aging, powerful matriarch begged Athame for the gift of prophecy so she would see whether the Asari would prosper in the future. Athame refused, prophecy being hers alone, and when Lucin tried to steal it from Athame's silver jars, Athame struck her down. The Reapers have so far ignored the mining facility on Lucin, as it offers little strategic value and is far from the system's mass relay. So yeah, all this talk of Reapers not yet attacking this area or that area. We also have Janiri, which we basically missed. Janiri is a hydrogen-helium gas giant named for an ancient Asari goddess of seasons, storms, and agriculture. With the advent of the Tsiari religion, Janiri's holy day Janiris became largely secular, but it is still celebrated on worlds with Asari influence. During the Reaper attack on Thessia, have the Reapers attacked Thessia? The Asari Armada used Janiri as a staging base for their hit-and-run attacks on the invading Reapers, striking, jumping to FTL to lose pursuers, and then discharging the static into Janiri's magnetic field as they prepared for another attack. We heard elsewhere that it sounds as though the Asari's general modus operandi when it comes to their strategic approach to war is hit and run, because although they are a very influential species in the galaxy, they are not the strongest from a military force standpoint. That is primarily the Turians, as we've heard previously. The Krogan, at least when they are not concerned with fighting each other, and maybe, depending on how you want to describe their fleet, the Quarians. This forced the Reapers to mount a counter-offensive to drive the Asari away from the planet using ships that would otherwise have been hammering Thessia itself. So at least they've kept some of the forces off of Thessia, which is the homeworld. Any other little asteroids in here? Now, not seeing anything at the moment, so let's bump in, and of course, eventually we're going to run into Thessia. I suspect it might be this one here. It is. So this is the Asari Homeworld. The Asari Homeworld has been called the crown jewel of the galaxy, the apex of democracy, and the beating heart of galactic love. Its republics have a remarkably low incidence of war, disease, violent crime, or famine, riding a stable economy backed by wealthy colonies and Thessia's vast Element Zero reserves. Traces of Ezo in the water and soil are so common that most life on Thessia has adapted to its presence. Thessia's fortunes have been upended by the Reaper assault. The communications infrastructure that forms the backbone of the society's e-democracies has been eliminated. Millions are without power, water, or food, a move to coerce the Asari into widespread surrender. This is a necessary part of the Reaper strategy, since husks alone have difficulty disarming or capturing a population full of biotics. This is true. We've experienced this firsthand. When it comes to the types of enemies we are particularly effective or ineffective against as a biotics-heavy character, husks, super easy. Super easy to crowd control, and so imagine an entire planet full of many potent biotic beings, and, husks getting sent at them is not the chief concern for them. And always interesting to me to see what the population of the homeworlds is. If you think about, for Earth, at this point, I want to say it might have been 11 billion. Obviously, this is taking place in the future. So, compare that to Thessia, just 5.5 billion is, well, half. Then, small population on orbital stations, and of course, these estimates are pre-invasion. And comparing the conditions on Thessia to that of Earth, are they really similar? I mean, pressure-wise, they are. Temperature-wise, and gravity-wise, yes, yes, and yes. So, it makes sense that that is the home world of what is, in some aspects, the most important, most influential species in the entire galaxy. Then, Corinth. Wrapped in a crushing haze of hydrogen and methane, Corinth is named for an Asari goddess of war and hunting, the two being similar in the Asari mindset. I guess I can see that. The planet is particularly bright in Thessia's morning and evening skies, enough to cast noticeable shadows on moonless nights. Understandably, warriors and hunters operating at night were grateful for Corinth's blessing. The planet was never heavily exploited for minerals. Early Asari explorers focused on the asteroid belt, and by the time robo-mining machines were created that could withstand the intense heat, more lucrative planets were already on the star charts. Modern charts record several scientific stations orbiting the planet, but it appears that all have been destroyed by the Reapers. Okay, so yes, some Reaper presence here, and very thick atmosphere, very hot. Understandable that this would not have been a top priority for them to try to extract resources from Corinth. So this is the Asari home cluster, right here. Again, I just find it so interesting after having spent all this time in Mass Effect 1, 2, and now 3, learning, but in many cases just little bits and pieces indirectly from the major species, even the minor species of the galaxy. Certainly the Asari, the Turians, the Solarians. Hearing about their background, what makes an Asari an Asari, what makes a Turian a Turian, and I think so much of that comes from what their home planet is, and that's part of what makes Mass Effect so interesting to me, is the world is so deep, it all makes sense. It's not like these are just random things here. Like Thessia, it talks about how there's Ezo all over the place. Ezo, of course, being Element Zero, that is the foundational piece that leads to people having biotic capabilities. The fact that there's Ezo all over the place on Thessia makes a lot of sense. That's why so many Asari, basically all Asari, have biotic capabilities. It makes sense. It's consistent with everything that we've heard thus far, and it just makes everything fit together much more and build that cohesive world. So I love that about Mass Effect, and it's really cool whenever we see, well, this is what shaped this species that is, again, by some accounts, the most influential in the entire galaxy. Let's try scanning. Trying to go for Thessia itself. Notice how we did not get any Reaper alertness there. I think that is probably because Thessia is, well, in this system, so perhaps we are safe for that reason, but I'm not sure we're going to find much of anything here, because generally we found in whatever systems have a species homeworld in it, whether it be, the local cluster with Earth, when we were going to visit Tuchanka, and then, or well, I suppose before that, Palaven and Mane, Surkesh. Don't think we ever found any resources in any of those systems. Neighboring systems certainly may be the case, but not the home systems. And there are many neighboring systems, as we were saying before. So don't know if we know specifically which one we're expecting to find stuff in for side quests, but I mean, take your pick. This will go tomorrow, so we can look at. Oh, well, unfortunately, they're all very spread out, which kind of stinks, because that means that, well, it's going to cost us a lot of fuel. What I'm wondering is, like, if we're being super strategic about which ones we should go to first, then might we want to finish the furthest one for last? Because if we run out of fuel, we'll get instantly teleported back to Parnatha here, and not have to, spend the rest of our fuel. We'll run out of fuel. You know what I mean. We'll basically get a free ride back. So what if we go tomorrow's first, then we go counterclockwise and finish on Vernio? Looks like Vernio. Well, hard to say. Vernio or tomorrow's is the furthest. I guess we could go Vernio and then go counterclockwise from there instead. Yeah, maybe that's preferable. Sure. What's the deal with Vernio? Because, like, look at this. This is so far away. I guess it didn't use that much. I'm surprised it didn't use more fuel, to tell you the truth. Okay, so I expect now that we will be able to find stuff to scan, and that we will be able to have the Reapers rush us down if we're not careful. So we have Policia. Policia is a ringed gas giant composed of hydrogen, helium, and traces of ammonia. It has 26 moons, but the Asari extracted the most valuable resource deposits from all of them long ago. The facilities have largely been forgotten in the face of greater excitement among the system's inner planets. Okay, excitement among the inner planets, you say, so perhaps that's where we should be focusing more of our time and attention. Now, of course, generally speaking, our theory has been, when it comes to planet scanning, that you should scan a planet that you have had a mission on there. Primarily, that's tended to have been Mass Effect 1 missions. Scan those, and then there's usually one other fuel source elsewhere in the system, but we have definitely not been to the home Asari cluster at any point in time in the Mass Effect trilogy until right now, so I don't think we're going to be able to follow that criteria, at least not in this case. Then we have Tritogeneth. The Asari have set up research stations on the largest moon of Tritogeneth, the gas giant, in order to observe the eventual collision of Prometheus and Sotera. A Reaper troop transport can be seen here, indicating that the Reapers sent a small force to capture or kill the station's staff. Why they did not destroy the station outright is a mystery. Could be that the direct collision of the two planets is so rare that even the Reapers wish to observe the results. Huh. I mean, colliding planets does certainly sound interesting. There is also this asteroid belt. Did I hear something there? I felt like I heard something. No? Perhaps not. I am curious to see if there is anything in the asteroid belt, though. We saw there was in the system that had Thessia. Not this time, though. Oh, these must be the planets that are about to collide, because they are basically... They basically have the same orbit here. Let's start with Sotera. Sotera's atmosphere retains a modest amount of oxygen, but it is too hot to support life that relies on liquid water. This is fortunate because projections show that Sotera will collide with Prometheus, a planet crossing its orbit within the next three years. Okay, I mean, by some accounts, you could say, oh, 3 years is so long. We're going to have to wait a long time. On the other hand, at least from a galactic scale, where the galaxy is billions of years old, 3 years is quite literally nothing. So, in that sense, it is happening very soon. The impact is expected to pulverize both worlds while forming a new asteroids and moons. The Asari have constructed research stations at a safe distance to record this rare event. I mean, that's gotta cause some serious destruction, right? I mean, planets colliding, I mean, just think about it. A large asteroid hitting Earth was enough to cause a mass extinction. 2 full-blown planets crashing into each other? I mean, complete destruction, I would think. You gotta be really far away to observe that safely, I would assume. So that's one of the 2 planets. The other one is Prometheus. This is the one that's gonna crash in. Within 3 years, Prometheus will slam into a neighboring planet, Sotera, and suffer an apocalyptic transformation. I mean, if you're crashing into another planet of roughly the same size, both of those planets are going to cease to exist. I have to imagine, right? There's no way they don't get completely destroyed, both of them, after the collision. It's not like, oh yeah, you know, there's going to be a mass extinction, but at least the planet will still survive. You know, at least it will still be a large spherical object orbiting the star. No, I feel like it's going to be complete rubble. After this, Asari explorers searching for life in Prometheus's hydrocarbon morass were relieved to find none. Prometheus's methane-ethane atmosphere is likely to ignite when it mingles with Sotera's oxygen, and both planets will shatter under the force of the collision. Yeah, they'll shatter and cause a humongous explosion. And they say, good thing that there weren't organisms on this planet, no signs of life, because, well, obviously, if there were, they would be alive for 3 more years, and then they would be wiped from this plane of existence. Also, it's 633 degrees Celsius, so good luck surviving there, and also insane atmospheric pressure. Okay, so I'm tempted to scan these 2. That's my first thought. Then Nauti planet is a rock planet with a crushing atmosphere. Thick clouds have created a runaway greenhouse effect, locking in the brutal heat from its yellow-white star, Vernio. Much of Nauti's surface is brittle rock with deposits of molten metal. You say pressure cooker atmosphere with a high temperature? Oh boy! We've seen some hot temperatures. I know we've seen above 1,000 on at least 1 or 2 occasions, but even then I want to say we've only seen like 1,100 something degrees Celsius. 1,300 might be the highest we've seen. Maybe on one occasion we saw 1,400 something, but that's pretty darn hot right there. Okay, so now when it comes to scanning, oh, hold on. Wait. This right here. You're telling me that that little piece of rubble is not a little planetoid, not a little asteroid? It really looks like one. It's like, oh, I got it. I spotted it. We went through here before and I missed it, but this time I see. You see this right here? That is totally a little circle planetoid, dwarf planet. You can't tell me otherwise. But anyways, for scanning, I mean, we might technically be able to hit all 3 of these planets if we scan right here. It's gonna be kind of close. I don't know exactly what the radius of the scan is. I suspect at times that it might not quite be as long as the animation would suggest. So I'm a little bit hesitant to go right here where we might actually just whiff on both these guys. And well, with all the neighboring systems here, I think that means we're going to get overrun by Reapers very, very quickly. So we might only have 1 safe scan. I think we go with this one just to be safe. But we got nothing. Okay. Well, actually, we should have at least 1 more safe scan. Is there also some description of interesting Reaper activity here? Reaper troop transport can be seen here, indicating that the Reapers sent a small force to capture or kill the station staff. Is that reason enough to suspect that this might be the planet that we ought to scan? I mean, I'm assuming that it's probably still the same formula here, where one planet has something, and then there's like a fuel depot or something like that elsewhere. It's not directly on a planet spot. It might just be one resource of some variety. We've not checked to see if we hear anything outside of the planets. We'll do a quick little loop around, see if we hear any notifications there to indicate there might be something. Of course, we would love if it wasn't directly on top of where those Reapers are about to spawn in. That would be ideal. If we're like as far away as possible from them. I don't think I've heard anything. Oh, but I just did. This is something right here. Okay, so let's scan this. I don't think this is gonna fill the meter. I hope not.
I found something.
Let's take it at the very least. It is a bunch of fuel. It is enough to get us all the way back up. In fact, we over-filled our fuel. Are we about to get chased down? Ooh, that's close. That was close. And it's 50% complete. So that means there's 1 more thing in here. It might be another randomly placed fuel source, but I doubt it. I don't really think we've ever seen 2 in the same system before. That's just Promaves. So I think it is going to be on a planet. I just don't know which one it's going to be. We should have hit both of these planets. We did not even try to hit Nauti with it, but that might be worth scanning. I'm just going to see if we find any obvious answers over here. Things that are not directly on a planet. But Nauti might be my top choice. Is that something? No? Either Nauti or that other planet we were just looking at that had the small Reaper presence. Those are the ones that I'm most suspicious of. The problem with that is that Nauti in particular is right in the middle of the system. So that means these Reapers are going to have lots of time to try to chase us down before we make our way out. I mean, they're mostly coming from the same side, so we can probably retreat in this direction, fortunately. But before we do this, let's make a point of saving, because of course, if we do get chased down by the Reapers, it's game over. So yeah, thinking we go for this. I was wrong. Okay.
Faster than light jump successful.
We'll make our way out of here. So we will continue our counterclockwise rotation. 50% of the stuff's at Vermneo, and we'll try to remember which places we have and have not scanned. Like, look at this. This is crazy distance there. That was almost 400 from this one trip, and that's the thing. All these systems are huge. Many planets. Lots of empty space between the planets, where we might find other stuff to scan, so that makes it tough to be successful with the limited number of scans we have before the Reapers arrive.